This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to CWK Live every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Dan Zayer, thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. Well, it is great to see all of you here tonight on CWK Live. We've got an exciting show, and it's also Happy Bad Batch Season 2 Eve, so we're very excited around the Star Wars community, of course. Tonight we've got top 5 moments from Tales of the Jedi Resolved, the last episode in Tales of the Jedi. We're going to talk about S.T.E.A.M into Star Wars and your comments and questions. Let's bring in our friends who are joining us live today. First is Minta. This is the way. It's CWK Day. Hello, Minta. Great to see you. Jason is here. Hello there. It's great to be back with you after a week away for Christmas. Yes, Jason, I hope you had a wonderful holiday with your family. It's great to have you back. Brian, the whimsical and witty Brian, says, this is the Tuesday. Great to see you, Brian. Ben is here too. Happy New Year, everyone. Ben, Happy New Year to you, my friend. Hope you had a great holiday with your family as well. So, this week is an exciting week because, again, it is Season 2 of The Bad Batch. We're going to talk about how we're going to cover that later on in the show. Definitely something to be excited about. As you may be aware, the first 2 episodes drop tomorrow morning, or I think it's 2 a.m. Central Time. So do the math on that, if you will. And it's the first 2 episodes. They're pretty normal in length, so that gives you an idea of how much time you'll want to set aside for it. And as usual, in the CWK Cafe, I will have a place for you where you can comment. Naturally, at first we do spoiler-free commentary just because we understand a lot of our friends have not gotten a chance to see it right away. And then on Saturday in the morning, I will post a spoiler option in the CWK Cafe where you can share your thoughts. And of course, next week we'll be talking all about it. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week. All right, this week in Star Wars, I want to talk about S.T.E.A.M into Star Wars now. You may have heard us, talking about it in the CWK Alliance a couple weeks ago. Of course, CWK Pro is our exclusive weekly show for members of the CWK Alliance, where we talk about Star Wars and other things in the world of pop culture. We go behind the scenes of things, stuff like that. But Tom Gross, who of course is a regular on Coffee with Kenobi, and one of my co-hosts on CWK Pro, which of course is our weekly exclusive show for members of the CWK Alliance, we talked at length about S.T.E.A.M into Star Wars and what that is. Let me post a little graphic here for you. There we go. So if you're in the Central Illinois area, on Saturday, January 7th, I will be doing a book signing for all of my books. There will be a very limited number of them available for purchase if you don't already have one. Of course, if you do have one and you're in the area, I'm happy to sign it for you. No charge, naturally. This is a free event. From 11:40 to 12:30, probably more closer to 12:20, is CWK Live, where I will be hosting Coffee with Kenobi. And I'll have a number of guests, people that you will recognize from the CWK Alliance and from CWK Live. I know Ross Hollivan's going to be there. I believe LJ Souter is going to be there. Naturally, Tom Gross will be there. Greg McLaughlin from the Rebel Base Card, and a number of other friends will be there too, including the hosts of the Hyperion Hub, the Disney podcast I've been fortunate to guest on a couple of times. So it's going to be quite an event. There will be books, there will be authors, there will be artists there, there will be panels about digital media, about writing. There will be a number of craft opportunities and games. It's a wonderful family affair. It very much feels to me like the unofficial Star Wars celebration of the Midwest. So if you're in the area, we would certainly love to see you there this Saturday, January 7th. The actual event is from 9 to 12:30. And those are just the things that I will be doing as far as that goes. I'll be hosting a couple panels, but you'll see that once you are there. Also, I just checked with my friends at MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. There actually still are a couple of rooms available, which I was happy to hear, which means if you're considering it, you can join me next summer, June 12th to the 14th, on the Galactic Star Cruiser. Remember, because it is through MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, you can get a no-cost, no-obligation quote. So if you're just even remotely curious to see what that entails, it's a great way to do it without any pressure of any kind. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it does, we'd love to have you. We go on the Star Cruiser. We play CWK. You get to have amazing Star Wars adventures. It's basically like a live Star Wars murder mystery slash escape room slash Star Wars fantasy camp. And you get to spend the day in Batuu at Galaxy's Edge 2. Daniel says, well, the 501st will be at S.T.E.A.M event. Yes, they will. Yes, they will, Daniel. I'm glad you brought that up. They will absolutely be there, which is an important part of this. Naturally, you can't have a Star Wars event without the 501st. So they will definitely be there. You may have noticed it last week. I don't think I talked about it, but the Christmas stuff is gone. I put up some white lighting just to kind of keep the space theme. I kind of like how it looks in the office, but some fun little things there. All right. And then, of course, tomorrow's the Bad Batch. And then today, the brand new High Republic audiobook exclusive dropped, and it is excellent. George Mann's book for the High Republic. The exact title, I should know it by heart. I do not. I did listen to it. It's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. If you like the High Republic, and these audiobooks, of course, are as good as it gets. But the actual title is, I'm posting in a Mandarin Journal, is The Battle of Jeddah. How could I forget that? Here is a picture of the cover, in case you did not see it. Look at that. Look at that modern technology showing you the cover on my phone. Battle of Jeddah is awesome. All right, let's jump into our top 5. So we've got Mary is here also. Hey guys, happy Bad Batch Eve. Hello, Mary. Great to see you. Our friend Greg is here. So much Star Wars this week. I know, Greg. It's going to be our coffee cups runneth over. Matthew, hello to you and Happy New Year as well. Who does the voice of this audiobook? So this is an audiobook drama. So it's basically like the best radio program you ever heard. So it's got a ton of actors in a ton. Like everybody in the cast, there's an actor for every different character. And there's sound effects and music. It's definitely the one to get if you like audiobooks. It's like audiobooks 2.0. It's really good. Speaking of really good, top 5 moments from Tales of the Jedi Resolved, the 6th episode in this wonderful series that I hope we get to see more of over the years. This is the final one in this little micro series, and is of course centered around Ahsoka and what ultimately is the final straw, the catalyst that brings her to side with the growing rebellion and fight against the Empire after many years in exile. Your top 5 moments from Tales of the Jedi Resolved. Boy, is it a fun one to rewatch again. It is just an exquisite episode. So my number 5 is the Empire's Peace. The father in this, that Ahsoka is working with the family, he says, yes, the Empire brings peace through persecution. Now that, of course, is horrific. And unfortunately, there's some real-world applications to that throughout history, all throughout the world, not just America. But just the notion that, what I like about this is that it shows there are people that are fed up. There are people that are willing to be upfront about their frustrations with oppression. And, the end does not justify the means here. The only reason they have peace is because they're persecuting people and they're scaring them. That isn't freedom. And that isn't peace. That isn't justice. So just calling it out, I think, is important. If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for everything, right? And I like that it is represented here. Minta is number 5. I love how they use Ahsoka's original name as her new identity, Ashla. Ashla? Yes, I do too. Ashla. Jason's number 5. The farming droids with the long legs. I like the design of the droids. I like how Star Wars regularly blends technology with nature. And again, borrowing from those old designs and remodernizing and rebranding them. I like that too. Number 5 for Brian. Rex waiting with their ship when Ahsoka gets back from her visit to Padme's funeral. I like that too. And then I had to kind of think about the end of the Siege of Mandalore, the final parter, and how she and Rex parted and where it fits in the timeline. I'm assuming it's right after that sequence. But I haven't watched that in a long time. Number 5, for Ben, Ahsoka changed her name to Ashla. Both an awesome name and Easter egg. George's original name for the light side of the Force. Exactly. I like that too. Mary as well. Using the Ashla name, this ties into the Ahsoka novel. Okay, so let's talk about that. I was going to save it for later. But yeah, Ashla in George's original script for the Journal of the Wills, the Star Wars saga, he talked about the Ashla, which was the light side of the Force, and the Bogan, which was the dark side of the Force. Ashla is also the name of a moon from Tython, which you may recognize from The Mandalorian. And then Ashla is also a character from Attack of the Clones, the only Togruta in the sequence where Yoda is teaching Obi-Wan and all the younglings about where to try to find the planet Kamino, which doesn't seem to exist on the charts, as we all know. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. So yes, Ashla has 3 different callbacks to the history of the Star Wars saga. Daniel, the farming village, as it felt hot and dry, it was comparatively light as opposed to the first scene, which was dark. Yeah, the symbolism there is quite good in the farming village itself, and it did feel hot and dry. The animation is really so good. Really good. It's a good call. All right, let's go to number 4. Number 4 for me is Bail's hint. I wrote down the original quote that he says at the end of towards the beginning of this episode when Ahsoka runs off after being given that communicator, which is a direct line to Bail Organa, and how he talks about our duty when we are able. He puts guilt, and pressure, but I don't know if it's guilt or pressure, more like, hey, you've got an obligation. When you're ready, we need you. And there's certainly a sense of urgency, but there's also a sense of understanding. It's a very mature way to say, look, Ahsoka, we need you. I know you're not ready now, but someday I hope you fall through. It's completely the opposite of the Empire's idea of you're going to do what we want because we want you to, and you don't really get to vote. So he does very much show that they need her, but he also realizes that it has to be her choice. It's just a fascinating, great little speech. Really good. Number 4 for Minta. The Empire brings peace through persecution. Scary but true. That's right. Similar to my 5. Jason's 4. Senator Organa's coded words to Ahsoka when he's questioned by the clone troopers. A nice tie into their next meeting. Yes, exactly. You said that much more distinctly than I did for my number 4. And I thought I saw some other ones here. I don't want to miss anybody. Okay, and that's it. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Brian's number 4. Ahsoka's saving the girl from the falling hay. She talks about being tired of fighting, and we assume he's going to hide her powers, but she can't help herself and doing the right thing and saving her. 4 for Daniel. Ahsoka using her Togruta name Ashla. There you go. Another example. So 4 of Ashla in the history of that name. Mary's 4 is Rex waiting for Ahsoka after the funeral. Always cool to see Rex. Number 4 for Ben. Ahsoka saves the village girl. Ahsoka may be in hiding, and she could have let the Force die and her or let abilities dull to not get caught by Anakin, but she kept them up for when she would need them to save lives. Yeah, Ahsoka's so brave. She's just great. Ben says, Brian said my number 4 better. What he said. Well, there you go. Love that. Everybody here is so intelligent and insightful. I really appreciate all of you, and I learn a lot from you. And I think that's cool. Like, that's another cool thing about CWK Live. We get to learn from each other, like, actively in the moment, not just me recording or you listening to another podcast and listening. Here we can actually talk back. And so many people who listen to these audio recordings are hearing what you think. So that's why it's so cool that we have our regulars, and hopefully other people will soon join us, as time and scheduling allows, because so many people are hearing your Star Wars opinions on CWK Live in the moment. Again, what a cool thing. And I say it's a cool thing because I'm excited that I get to be a conduit to help share your thoughts. It's neat. I feel very blessed that you share that responsibility with me. It's something I really relish. Appreciate you all. All right, I'm babbling. So number 3, Ahsoka uses the Force. Of course Ahsoka uses the Force, but not of course. It's been a long time. She's been hiding her abilities for a while. Ben said she must keep them up a little bit on occasion, otherwise would eventually wither away. But Ahsoka is a hero, and she is everything that represents the light. I'm convinced that's why her lightsabers are purely white in The Mandalorian. I'm not sure if these are the ones that she eventually converts to white from the Inquisitor. I know it's a little different in the Ahsoka novel by I keep thinking D.K. Johnson. It's not it's E.K. Johnson. I don't know if it's the same ones or not. They don't really show them close up enough to see, but perhaps. But what I'm talking about is before that, when she uses the Force to save that girl, so that before that, all that giant pile of hay falls on top of her. It's just a neat moment, and I like that she doesn't use a ton of effort. She just does it, and then she, in humility, yes, but also in her wisdom, knowing I can't let people know that I'm a Jedi. Not a safe place to be. It's just a great moment, really great moment. Mean says 3. It was clever to bring in an Inquisitor. Those who have been played Overwatch. He reminds me of the villain from the game. Well, that's a good connection. Still not sure why his head is a balloon, but I don't know. Number 3 for Jason, Ahsoka attending Padme's funeral. Shows the love and respect she has for her friend. Ashley Eckstein does such an excellent job voicing Ahsoka's emotions. Yes, she does. It was so great to have her back as the animated Ahsoka. It's just, there's no... Ahsoka Tano and Ashley Eckstein are always synonyms to me. Number 3 for Daniel, Padme's funeral on Naboo. Blown away reliving that scene, and now I know Ahsoka was there paying her respects. Yes. And it's nice to see that. I think that was important, because we all know how much they meant to each other in the Clone Wars. Number 3 for Mary. Ahsoka working the farm, helping the young girl with the Force. She was trying so hard to hide she was a Jedi. Yes, but ultimately, of course, she just couldn't keep it in because she was needed. Number 3 for Ben. Ahsoka shows up at Padme's procession. She was my friend. She risks it all just to pay her respects. Also, it always pains me to hear her use the past tense was. I know. I was actually thinking about tenses there when I watched this before tonight again, and so I'm glad you pointed that out, Ben. All right, let's go to number 2. Number 2, I put Ashla. As we've already mentioned before, there are several keys or connections to Ashla in the history of Star Wars. George, of course, as I said earlier, that was the original name for the light side of the Force. The planet, or the moon from Tython, the Togruta from Attack of the Clones, and then her Togruta name, Ashla. It's great. I like it. It's cool. I like that people caught it and are talking about it. We're all steeped in the lore, and we like the history of Star Wars, so it's really fun. Number 2, for Aminta, as Ahsoka claims she's tired of fighting, but that all changes when she saves the girl from the falling hay, and then later when she stopped the Inquisitor from bringing harm to the other villages. Deep down, she knew she couldn't hide her abilities forever, which was made clear when Bail Organa requested her help to change the tide for the Republic. Change the tide, indeed. Thank you, Mita. That was very well said. 3 is for Brian. Was the Inquisitor asked Ahsoka, and who might you be? I would have thought they would have a list of former Jedi to look for. I thought that too, and then I thought, is this just part of sort of this weird dance that this Inquisitor is playing, just sort of foaming at the mouth, like he thinks he is like a cat playing with the mouse before he traps it. Of course, this Inquisitor is no match for Ahsoka. But I caught that too. Mary's 2 is Bail Organa talking with Ahsoka. We know she will eventually become Fulcrum. That's right. So good. Number 2 for Jason is the connection or parallel to E.K. Johnston's novel. Yes, it's like a retelling, but a little bit of a different thing as well. Ben's 2, Ahsoka quickly dispatches the Inquisitor. Without the lightsaber, she keeps those skills sharp and stylish. Reminds me of how Obi-Wan defeated them all. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good connection. 2 for Daniel, the Inquisitor village scene. The music was tense along with the burning village. Ironic that she uses his own saber to end him. So perfect, isn't it? She is such a master with her gifts. And I actually didn't bring up the fight on here, surprisingly. But one thing I like about the fight is that right before she's about to engage with the Inquisitor, her fist is like this, but then when she's about to, she just opens it up completely. So she's not balled up, ready to fight. She's just completely peace and relaxed. She catches that lightsaber, gets rid of him, and it doesn't even effort for her. She is so superior to this guy. I mean, we know her training is at another level. We saw that last week with Anakin, but just a great sequence. Daniel's 2 is the Inquisitor's village scene. The music was tense with the burning village. All right, she's own say. Oh, I already said that. Well, thank you, Daniel. I was so moved by your comments, I had to say them again, apparently. One for Matthew, the funeral, so emotional and sobering, very moving to watch. Sobering is a good word, because it is quite a gut punch there. So let's get to number 1. Number 1 for me and for all of you. Well, not for all of you, but my number 1 is Padme's funeral attendee, of course, who was Ahsoka Tano. We talked about it. When I first saw this, I let out some audible gasps because it's very clear that this is Revenge of the Sith. And anytime you can tie in the amazing animated world of Star Wars into the films, just reminding us of, well, we know it's canonical. We're visual people. We like to see that actual connection. And it was terrific. Absolutely terrific to see. Very emotional and really added to the gravitas of Padme. Plus, seeing the animated Padme in that funeral procession was really pretty moving too, because it's hard not to think of Kat Tabor's performance too. Ben says that hand motion is my honorable mention. She lets go of her anger before fighting him because she knows the light is better than the dark, and she also knows the danger of the dark side. Brian's 2 is Ahsoka's fight with the Inquisitor. She seems to focus her force energy on defending and not attacking. She is at peace, and it is like Obi-Wan fighting Maul and Rebels. So fluid, she deflects each of his attacks. Yes. Minta is number 1. It was wonderful yet heartbreaking to see Ahsoka pay her respects to Padme. In a way, she has lost all ties to her former life, from her clone troopers, her friends, her master Padme, and her life as a Jedi. Despite all that, years later, she becomes a tremendous warrior of the Force that we witness in Rebels to the Mandalorian. And how excited are we for the Ahsoka series? My gosh. Going to be so cool. Number 1 for Jason, Ahsoka dueling the Inquisitor without a lightsaber and taking him down so quickly. This shows her mastery of the Force and gives even more weight to Yoda's teaching about the Force being a powerful ally. Hear, hear. Well said. Number 1 for Mary is Padme's funeral. To see Ahsoka there was just heart-wrenching. We know they were close during the Clone Wars, and this had to be hard on Ahsoka. Oh, very much so. Number 1 for Brian, Bale's persuasive dual discussion with the troopers about duty. He was refocusing the troopers' attention on his words while getting his plea to Ahsoka. Ben said my number 2 better than I did. Look at that. It's all cyclical. Ben's number 1, Ahsoka forgives and understands the brother. She doesn't judge him for not understanding the evil of the Empire, no matter how personal it is for Ahsoka. Yes, absolutely. Daniel's number 1, in the hall, after the funeral, and Bale catches up with her obvious attachment to Padme by stating, "She was my friend." And that blue heart is perfect there, Daniel. Yes. Really, if you just put the first few minutes in there, it would have been enough. But then we get the great sequence on that planet. Ahsoka using the Force and rescuing that family, easily taking down that Inquisitor, reminding us of when she's in Star Wars Rebels Season 2, when she takes on the Seventh Sister and the Fifth Brother, single-handedly by herself without any problem at all. Shows you how good Ahsoka is, how powerful she is. Jen is here. Hello, Jen. Good to see you. She says, the duel reminds me a lot of Kenobi versus Maul and Twin Sons. I agree. And I think someone said that earlier. Was it Brian or Ben? I can't remember. So yeah, great minds think alike. I love that. Well, thank you, everybody. It was really fun to revisit Tales of the Jedi. It's not even revisiting. We didn't get to talk about it much on the show because of Andor and scheduling. So I'm glad we're able to give it a little bit of conversation because it's just a beautiful, beautiful series. So as we said at the top of the show, tomorrow, 2 episodes of The Bad Batch are going to drop. Episode 201, Spoils of War, and episode 202, Ruins of War. So we will have our top 5 next week, talking all about it. Lori is here. Hello, Lori. Happy New Year to you. Great to have you. So that is great to see you. Great to see all of you. And I also have a fun little surprise for everybody. Let's see. Where did I go? Oh, yeah. Tomorrow we're going to have a bonus Coffee with Kenobi where I am joined by my son, Mason Zare, as we go over the first 2 episodes of The Bad Batch. It's going to be an early morning, an early session, but it's going to be cool to bring you a little bit. So there's going to be 3 Coffee with Kenobis this week. And then that means this Saturday, when I'm at S.T.E.A.M into Star Wars, hoping some of you who are in the area can join, I will be recording live the 600th show of Coffee with Kenobi. 600th show. Nuts. Really nuts. Hard to believe that I will have done 600 episodes of Coffee with Kenobi for this week. Yikes. All right, let's go ahead and jump into Ask Dan Z. All right, time to Ask Dan Z. Before you do that, I realized Lori says, congratulations. Well, thank you, Lori. Thank you so much. Pretty cool. I was talking about this with my family earlier, and they were like, 600, what? But there's another show I do also. It is CWK Prover. That is, of course, the show that I talked about earlier that is released every week. There is a video version, which comes out on Fridays, and then the audio version of that comes out on Sundays. This week for our show, we did looking back at 2022, both personally, professionally, and then, of course, in the world of popular culture. So we talked about Celebration. Here is a clip from that episode.
I remember when my mom celebrated her 40th birthday, and I thought, man, she is so old. 40th felt like it was just such a far away land, and here it is, right now, right here. So feeling good about it, though. Looking forward to many more years to come.
Cool.
Here.
Yeah. Because someone else had a big birthday this year, too.
I have a feeling that's coming up.
I didn't realize
I didn't even think about that until you said it.
What I was thinking while you were saying that was you guys are 10 years apart.
I know, isn't that funny? And we still look like we're the same age. Good for
I know it.
Good for him, bad for me, or the other way around. Other way around, yeah. Good for me, bad for him. So yeah, there's a little glimpse. It's all downhill after 40. Hey man, I don't know about that. You just get better with age. That's what I think. This week will be 600 episodes of Coffee with Kenobi. If you got any questions, this is your chance to ask me. This week, in addition to the Bad Batch and live and the 600th show that I'm going to do live at S.T.E.A.M into Star Wars, we're going to be talking Willow. So Jen and Greg are going to join me, and we're going to record the show talking all about the 6th episode of Willow. It's going to be fun. Mary says, wait till you guys hit 60. Well, if we're half as awesome as you are, Mary, then we are very much looking forward to that, for sure. All right. Well, that's been great. It's been great talking to all of you on CWK Live tonight. Of course, every Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Don't forget that next week, we finally get to talk about Season 2 of The Bad Batch, which is going to be, well, it's great. You're going to love it. You are going to love it. Where's next week's show? There we go. Yeah, Spoils of War and Ruins of War. We're going to just do one top 5. Just think of it as 1 hour-long episode and just make one top 5. I'm not going to have separate ones. Say the vocal cords. We'll just talk about them both together. Brian says, I keep adding my shoe size. It doesn't matter how old I am. Hey, it's smart. Minta, may the force be with you. Matt, have a great week and enjoy the Bad Batch. You too. Ben says, I have smaller feet. Brian, I can't get away with that. Oh. Mary says, have a great week, everyone. Can't wait to watch Bad Batch and discuss it with everyone. And tomorrow, don't forget, wow, of course, the wait will be long for us to get to the next Coffee with Kenobi Live. You can certainly comment in the CWK Cafe. Look for it tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. There will be a place for you to give your spoiler-free comments. Matthew wants to know if I've seen any of season 2. Yes, I've seen all of it, except for the last 2 episodes. So yes, I have seen all of it. Very much looking forward to talking about it with all of you. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining me for a cup of coffee. And remember, this is the podcast you're looking for. See you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.